Hey everybody, back here again with my good friend Rich Norton. How you doing today, Rich?
I'm doing excellent. Always great to talk with you. This is a true joy for me. It really is. It's fun.
It is fun. I always enjoy it as well. And
Yes.
it's I was just thinking before this that it's really cool that you're doing this, Rich. I mean, I think everybody at this point understands you could be, on a desert island somewhere with your family and just taking some time off. But instead, you're out in the field today. I think you said you closed a couple of merchant accounts today, right?
Yes, definitely.
So I got a
That's the
couple of
best
merchant
part of
accounts
what
done and
Yeah, best part about what we do, I supervise a couple hundred representatives around the country, and people say, "Why do you still go out and sell?" Well, number one, I love it, and I just love helping people, and I love leading by example. I'm very competitive, and even to this day, as you know, I still write about 300 merchants in a year, and it's the best part. I love getting up in the morning. I don't need to, but I love getting up in the morning, getting dressed, getting out in the field. It's a new day. It's an exciting day. Let's go out and help somebody today.
I love it. I love it. I always think back to I was at a retriever way back in the retriever days. I was at a retriever summit, and I think you told me that your slogan of having fun and making money. If you're having fun, you're making money. If you're making money, you're having fun, and those things tend to go together, right?
Exactly right. It's so true because representatives say, "Man, I'm in a slump right now," and I'll go right back to that. I'll say, "Look, you're not having any fun, are you?" He goes, "No, this kind of sucks right now." It's a lot harder to write one or zero in a week.
Right.
That's a hard week. But when you go out, think about the weeks that we go out and write 10 or 12 in a week, man, it's like that was easy. That was great. I mean, you just
Right.
walk in and you got that mojo, you got the momentum going on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I always ask them, when you have those great weeks, tell me about it. And they
Right.
always start out by saying, "It was fun, man. I'm just having so much fun."
Yeah.
I said, "Keep that. That's what you got to
Right.
keep doing
Right.
because when you're having fun, you're going to make a lot of money."
I love it. Well, that's a perfect
Yes.
tie into what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the psychology of selling and specifically this idea of when you go out in the field, you're not really selling payment processing per se. First you have to sell yourself. And so talk a little bit about that, Rich. I think there's really a science behind, meeting someone for the first time, being able to make a good impression and build trust. What are some tips that you have for us on how to do that better?
Yeah, the best way I can explain that is, okay, you have this great opportunity. You're in merchant services right now, and you're about to meet your best friend, and you're going to tell them all about what you're doing right now. Well, you're not going to say, "Hi, James, good to see you. I work for payment processing. I want to see your statement. I sell help people save money." You're going to be excited about what you're doing. And it's the same thing as you're going out in the field. The impression that you want to leave with every merchant that you encounter is that the person that came by my business loves what they're doing.
Mhm.
That goes back to the having fun and making money.
Yep.
They really enjoy helping people. They were nice. They weren't a doormat. Sometimes we go in and the first thing people will say is, "Hey, I know you're busy and sorry to bother you." Get rid of all that. If you're doing that, do not be a doormat. Your time is just as valuable, if not more valuable, than the merchants. You must walk into a business as the most confident person, and your philosophy is that everybody loves you and everybody wants to talk to you. You're the most exciting person in the area. You're the busiest person in the area. You're helping people out, and you're just like just a fun-loving guy or woman, whatever, whoever you're out in the field, and you're having a blast when you're out there. And that's where all that comes with good eye contact. As I always tell everybody,
Mhm.
you got to get people to like you. This goes back, and you and I have talked about this a lot. You're selling yourself. How do you get people to like you? You have to have good eye contact. I worked with a representative the other day, and he was hats off to him, working really hard. He goes, "Man, I'm out there, I'm pounding 30 doors a day. I'm writing three or four a month, and I'm getting so much rejection." I said, "Let's do a little role playing right here. Let me hear what you're saying." So he worked on his voice inflection, but one thing he didn't even notice that his eye contact was horrible because as he was talking, he was like looking around, "Hey, I'm helping people," and he's looking all over the place. And I had another guy standing next to me, one of our team leaders, and I said, "What do you find that you can help him with?" He goes, "He needs eye contact, strong eye contact, because that builds trust." He goes, "I didn't even know I was doing that."
Yeah.
So eye contact, smiling. If you see someone without a smile, give them one of yours. You're enthusiastic. You believe in what you're doing. You believe in you. like I said, you're having fun. You're just excited about what you're doing. And the people's impression should be, that's one of the greatest guys I ever met, man. I hope he comes
Yeah.
back. And that's a connection that you're making with people. I'm out in the field and I look for a nice connection, how to connect with people. You see a dog. Is that the guard dog? What kind of dog is that? You see something hanging, a big deer head. Where did you get that? A car over here. I love it when I walk into businesses and I'll see, people that are faith oriented. They got
Hmm.
a verse up there, and I'll say right off the bat, great to see a business that has faith. That's awesome. What do? They start talking about that, and you're
Right.
connecting with the people. So that all goes down to selling yourself and connecting with people.
Mm. Rich, give us just a real quick version of this, and maybe what we'll do is maybe we'll touch on this next week. But give us a real quick version of just, I think what you're talking about, a lot of it is mindset, right? Because I think a lot of times agents, they get out in the field, they kind of, they get up in the morning, they kind of rush out the door, they drop the kids off at school, they're kind of having a bad day, they don't really want to go prospecting, and then they walk into the first business and they're like, why can't I make a sale? And it's like, well, because nobody wants to talk to you. Give us
Right.
a real quick 30-second version, and then we'll do the longer version next week. But what are some tips of like how do you get in the right mindset at the beginning of the day to have that kind of attitude?
Yeah, in fact, I'd love to do a class on that. We'll talk about that.
Yeah,
It all begins in the morning. The winners rise early, as we always talk about. It's getting your body, your spirit. In order to be a top performer, you have to be in all levels at the top of your game. If you're staying out all night and you get up in the morning and you don't know where you're going that day, and you got to do this and you got to do that, it's like, oh yeah, oh by the way, I got to write some deals. Where am I going today? If you're doing that,
not
you're
gonna
not
happen.
going to be productive at all. You got to
Yeah,
know, you got to be fired up. You got to be ready to go. You got to know exactly where you're going, and you got to have a plan. And that's what's going to spell success. That is such a great point, because I talk to some representatives, call them up in the morning, and you can tell they just got out of bed. I've been up for 3 hours already, and I'm
right,
texting people in the morning, sending them positive notes and everything, and I'm waking them up. And you
right.
can tell that they're not prepared. And it's like, where are you going today? Yeah, I got some follow ups from last week. Okay, sounds great. You're going to do great today.
Well, Rich, so if for those that want to learn more, jump on next week, and we're going to talk more about this morning routine. But before I let you go, Rich, how do people reach out if they want to learn more about you and your team and the coaching and
Yes,
stuff that you do?
absolutely. Yeah, as you can imagine, again, we're hundreds and hundreds of calls. We've had a bunch that have joined our team, and they're winning trips. That we talked about the trips that we
That's
have
great.
with our team, going to Mexico and five-star resorts, and they're having great success. So reach out to me if you feel that you're a good fit. 904-434-4635. Or you can email me at payrock, Payroc, Rich Norton at gmail.com.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.